Council meeting. Welcome everyone to council chambers here. We'll start things off with singing of the national anthem. Thank you to the National Film Board for the images you've seen on the screen, and to the Grand Prairie Boys Choir who you heard singing "O Canada." We will now go to item 3, the adoption of the previous council meeting minutes. Do I have someone to move that? Councillor Rice?
Okay, I would move adoption of the minutes of what?
February 21st.
February 21st.
Our two controllers are not operating properly.
Oh.
Minus, how's yours? Still needs a little bit of a shake.
Just a little technical issues here. Could have maybe some. For now, let's we'll just show hands. All right. Sorry. Well, is there any discussion regarding the minutes? Seeing none, I'll try calling the vote on here, and we'll see if that works. If not, so please vote now. No. All right. I'll cancel this vote, and we'll do this the good old-fashioned way. We'll just vote by show of hands. So I'll ask all those in favor of the motion. So we have that passes unanimously, and so that will pass. Is our recording secretary, you're good? Do we maybe hold up your hands while we're voting like this for a bit? All right, now we'll move into the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Councillor Thiessen.
I would move the adoption of the agenda.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call those all in favor. Councillor Rice. And that passes unanimously. All right, now that brings us to the delegation portion of the meeting. So if there's anybody in the attendance that would like to come forward and present to council on any community-related item, this is the time to do so. Do I see? Yeah, come on forward. If, And welcome. You're no stranger to council chambers, but if you could just state your name again for recording secretary and go ahead.
Tarrant today. It's been exactly 1 year since I was here and City Council approved the new sign bylaw. It's been 1 year. Although I dislike signage in general, I felt the bylaw helped control the problems of signage, especially digital electronic messages. At that time, it was not requested, but I had hoped that the city buildings would follow the new bylaw. The city has electronic signs at City Hall, City on 99th, Center 2000, and Revolution Place. The signs of the city buildings do not follow the new bylaw. The electronic message display should be static, transition time should be instantaneous, and there should be no movement or animation. I understand their signs were grandfathered in. However, I thought the city would be nice and volunteer and comply with the bylaw. Kind of set a precedent. Why have these bylaws if the city buildings themselves are not even following them? So it's been 1 year, and I request that city buildings' electronic signs come into compliance with the sign bylaw. Thank you. Short and simple. It's been a year.
Thank you.
I don't think it's too much to ask.
Do we have any questions for the delegation? Councillor McLean.
I don't know, that's up to you guys, but when you look online under city facilities, it's considered a city facility. I don't know if the sign is though. That might be, the sign might be the chamber, but the building is the city's. But still, they're not in compliance. It would set a nice precedent to the community saying the city's voluntarily doing this, and I gave you guys a year to do it.
Any further questions? No? Seeing them, well, thank you very much for coming in. And we deal with our delegation business near the end of the meeting, so you're welcome to stay around and to listen to what's decided then.
Thank you. Enjoy your time as a mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
At this point, is there any other delegations? Yes, Mika, come on forward.
Hello, Roy.
Welcome.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mika de Groot, and I am today representing the Alberta College of Social Workers. This is Social Work Week, and I had applied for proclamation to be read today, so I'm hoping that that's possible. I also brought something. I'm not sure if you still have a place for displays from community agencies, but in case you do, I did bring a very pretty glossy flyer here. The theme for this week is the power to empower. You may be aware that there are over 100 social workers in the city of Grande Prairie, and we work in nonprofits for Alberta Health Services for the city of Grande Prairie, very likely. Just about anywhere that you need somebody who gives excellent customer service, you will find a social worker somewhere close by. And I myself became a social worker well after age 55 because as an immigrant twice over, first to the United States after World War II, which was before I was born, and then when I was 26 years old, I came in 1981. I found that the best way for me to be a special educator was to become a social worker. And that takes me where I am today. I'm very empowered by the city to do the work that I do. And I feel very honored to be part of the Alberta College of Social Workers and representing so many people who do the work that helps us keep going. and helps the little guy as well as the big one. So I just wanted to say thank you and hope that you have a wonderful evening. Yeah, so the samples that I brought are, there were lanyards and stylus pens. I don't know if you have a place, I will leave more here. And otherwise, I'll just take them with me and find other places to distribute them.
Please do. And just, you had mentioned the proclamation reading.
That had been, I did that through Bernie Benson.
Okay. I'm just wondering if anyone may have gotten missed, but certainly we're flexible and adaptive, so we can certainly do a proclamation reading here.
I didn't
do you have
bring
available?
a
Okay.
draft with me. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll definitely make sure that gets followed up on.
You know, if we could even have a highlight, you know, if you do have a display for the public, I think that would be wonderful.
Absolutely. Councillor McLean.
Which is communications, I do believe. So maybe the poster, I think David's changed the role unless it goes to David, but maybe one of the directors could know where the poster can go, where it could be hung at City Hall. That's what you're looking forward to, right?
I was planning actually just to leave it here.
Yeah, and then that could be,
And then where you guys want to hang it, if it's in the staff room, like, it's okay.
If you do want to leave it with someone there, then we can definitely.
I will do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Get it hung up. Is there any other questions? Seeing none, well, thank you very much for coming in, and thank you for the community, the service you do to the community.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. At this point, do we have any further delegations that would like to speak to any items that are not subject to a public hearing? No, no one else. All right. We'll close the delegation portion of the meeting, and we don't have any public hearings tonight, so we'll move into unfinished business. And 7.1, the Northwest Area Structure Plan. And I'll look to administration for maybe a quick recap. Oh, it's third reading. Sorry. We'll just move right into third reading unless there's any councillor that had any questions regarding. No. Is that a hand? Oh. Okay, and I believe our mics are we back on? Yeah, so we're good to queue in again, and oh, you got nothing? All right. Okay, so let's still do it. So we had a motion on the floor from Councillor Logan moving third reading of the Northwest Area Structure Plan bylaw amendment. Is there any discussion regarding the amendment? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All those in favor. And that passes unanimously. All right. And we have no reports, so we'll move right into committee business. And the first item. Nope. This was yeah. That we had that last meeting. Yeah. So we're good. All right, moving into committee business. So we have our community living committee meeting. Councillor O'Toole, would you be able to move that?
I'll just speak a little louder. Oh, there we go. I move the council receive the minutes of the Community Living Committee meeting held Tuesday, February 21st, 2017, as presented.
All right. Any discussion on those minutes? I will call the question. All those in favor? All right. And that passes unanimously. And I think there was one item coming out of
9.1.1, the Leisure Center 2017-2018 budget. The recommendation is to approve, and I move approve the revised 2017 and 2018 operating budget for the Leisure Center.
Do we have any discussion or questions? Yeah, Councillor McLean.
yeah, the question on the area that we could bring it to. What was the percentage of this? Was it 300,000, 400,000? I can't remember what was the number on this for operating budget?
Regarding the savings?
Yeah, well, I was just wondering about it, yeah.
Does someone from administration want to comment on the reduction in the budget?
The reduction in the budget is $1.2 million.
and it's because the leisure center was originally planned to open in 2017 as an aquatics facility, and it's operating only as a soccer facility.
Any further questions?
Just one more comment. The Leisure Center also has the 2018 Summer Winter Games office space rented out. So there's some funding going in that direction as well.
Anything else? If seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? All right, and that passes unanimously. So we'll move on to community safety. Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Mayor Trapp. I would move that Council receive the minutes of the Community Safety Committee meeting held Tuesday, February 28th, 2017 as presented.
Seeing any discussion? Not seeing any. I will call the question. All those in favor? And that passes. Just so everyone's aware, the mics are working. We're going to be getting turned on from the back. So
Nice.
Just keep talking. Make sure the mics. And items coming out of
Betcha. Thank you, Mayor Tarrant. We had one item coming out of our community safety meeting. It's item 9.2.1 on our package, and I would move that Council Award Tender T-11-552-17 to Wapiti Gravel Suppliers of MPA Limited in the amount of $2,271,735.73, exclusive GST, as the lowest bid, meeting city specifications. Just to speak to this motion here, we were presented with this bid at committee level. The work is meant to do all of Lakeland Drive from 116th Avenue all the way up to 95th Street. It's a full road rehabilitation. They're actually going to ground the streets down and apply a new gravel base to handle the consistent loads that are coming over on that road. They'll also be doing curb, gutters, and sidewalks. And in total, along with a new paved trail, it'll be 1.2 kilometers of work that is being rehabilitated along Lakeland Drive.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions regarding the motion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? All right, and we have another unanimous consent. Thank you, Councillor Thiessen. Is there anything else you wanted to note from the meeting?
Yeah, there was a couple things a couple actions that came out of the committee meeting. The first was from a previous action. We received a report on different ways to bid and build when it comes to road construction. We went over at least 4 very detailed different designs. One was a design bid build, which is the current standard practices of the city of Grande Prairie. A design build, an integrated fixed price, as well as P3, which is otherwise known as a public-private partnership, and alternative bids to fix the road. Coming out of that discussion and highlighting all those, it seemed, though I'd like to touch base on the final 2, seemed like the design build was the one that was getting the most interest from around the committee table. So there was a motion on the table for administration to bring forward to us any projects that may fit under a design build, essentially to try to speed up a project or get innovation when we're doing road construction and design. So that'll be coming back to a committee meeting later on. Also, there was a report given on train whistling. So we overheard what the costs would be as far as putting in the proper safety protocols to ensure that we don't have train whistling inside the city. Currently, it's set at about $2.5 million, maybe more. That's going to cost us. That's not including the fencing that would have to go along the rail lines. And there's some grant money available, but not to curb train whistling. And through the discussion, we did come up with a motion. We figured we might be able to step up the process to delay train whistles. The mayor given moved to refer up to $80,000 for safety audits, which would be the first step in removing whistling from our cities on the 8 rail crossings to our 2018 budget review. So that'll be something that our new council will discuss when the next budget comes up. And that is all.
Thank you very much. Councillor Thiessen. And we'll move on to corporate services. Councillor Logan. Sorry, Councillor Radburn. My apologies.
Thank you. It is going to work. I would move that council receive the minutes of the Corporate Services Committee meeting held Tuesday, February 28th, 2017 as presented.
We'll call the question. All those in favor? That passes. Councillor Redburn.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Tarrant. So get ready to use your hands here for a while. So I would move that the council give first reading to bylaw C 1358, being the 2017 supplementary property assessment bylaw. I'll just introduce this. This bylaw allows a city to assess property having newly constructed buildings or major renovations or additions in the same tax year as they are completed and occupied. This is an annual. These two bylaws are that we do annual, so that we do it properly.
Thank you, Councillor Redburn. Any discussion? Right, this is a bylaw. I'll call the question. All those in favor for first reading. Right, and that passes. Councillor Redburn.
Thank you. I would move the council give second reading to bylaw C 1358.
Right, now there's a chance for discussion, debate. Is there any discussion? Questions? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Passes.
Thank you. I would move that council have third reading of bylaw C 1358, being the 2017 supplementary property assessment bylaw at this meeting.
All right, and I'll just remind, Councillor Rice.
Was there any discussion that this could, I know it's often people come and ask to have that waived. So was there any discussion with economic development that this could be a disincentive for people building?
No.
Okay, thanks.
Is the answer.
I'll just remind, Councillor Thiessen.
Just it's interesting to note, just for the general public or for any councillors who haven't had a chance to go over to the corporate services meeting that just passed here on February 28th, there was a small table that was included that showed all the supplementary property tax assessment that the city has garnered in income over the past 4 years. And interesting to note that the last 2 years you can really see the economic downturn, because almost half the development starts that we had in the previous year. So I'd encourage anyone who wants to be educated about this stuff to see how the booms affect municipalities. It's right there at our Corporate Services Committee meeting from February 28th.
All right, thank you, Councillor Thiessen. Seeing anyone else, remind everyone that this needs to be unanimous to have the vote to have third reading in order to for us to have third reading at tonight's meeting. All right, I will call the question, and the question is to have third reading. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously, so we're able to have third reading.
Thank you. I would move council give third reading to bylaw C 1358, being the 2017 supplementary property assessment bylaw. And just further to Councillor Thiessen's information he shared, I think it was close to almost 500,000 3-4 years ago. And I think last year was the lowest in the last 5 years, about 268,000. So it is significant to revenues for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I will call the question. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. Thank you. And next one.
To bylaw C 1359, being the 2017 supplementary property tax bylaw. This bylaw allows the city to impose a supplementary tax in the same year as the supplementary assessment is done.
I will call the question. All those in favor of first reading? And that passes. Councillor Redburn.
I would move council give second reading to bylaw C 1359.
All right, any discussion, debate, second reading? I will call the question. All those in favor? Second reading passes. Councillor Redburn.
Thank you, Councillor Tarrant. I would move that council have third reading of bylaw C 1359, being this 2017 supplementary property tax bylaw at this meeting.
All right, and I will call the question. All those in favor of having third reading? And we're passed. we can have third reading. Councillor Red.
Thank you. And finally, I would move council give third reading to bylaw C-1359, being the 2017 supplementary property tax bylaw.
One last chance for questions, discussion. Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? That passes again. Anything else you want to note, Councillor?
Yes, there's one more motion and then another item I'd like to speak to.
Last page.
Yeah. I would move council award tender T04-547-17 to BYD Coach and Bus in the amount of $1,327,935.06, exclusive of GST, as the lowest bid meeting city specifications. This is we are replacing two low floor transit buses. Actually, they're diesel transit buses from 1998 that both have over $1 million kilometers on them. So it's time for replacement, and these monies will buy us two 30-foot low floor electric transit buses. There was only one bidder, but administration were confident about the competitiveness of the bid, and through the Fleet Replacement Fund and Green Trip funding, we have the funding to support these purchases. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Redburn. Is there any questions? Councillor McLean.
Assembled in China. It could be in LA, but it might be all in China. So we're doing a whole new solar project, which if you look at the price, it's really expensive, and it's all being done in China. And I'm kind of wondering about labor. So I never got the full. So my first question is the bus completely built in parts and assembled in China and shipped over in CCAN? So question number one.
Director Miyagi. He'll turn you on.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair, these buses are, the parts are made in China, and they're all shipped, and then they're assembled in Lancaster, California.
Okay. And my question number two is, we only specifically looked for a 30-foot bus. But what I got from the committee was, if we would have looked at 35 or 40, or say 35, which would have been smaller than 40, we might have actually gotten more bidders. Is that true?
Yes, through the chair. The 35-foot buses and the 40-foot buses, through our research, they are quite a bit more expensive. So just to give us a scale of the costing scope, for the 5 feet difference, the 35-foot electric buses, which there are about 3 manufacturers, they all range anywhere from about $900,000 to $980,000, whereas and then the 40-foot buses are over $1 million in cost. The 30-foot buses, the other manufacturers are just starting to get into that market, is our understanding, but it does coincide with our fleet diversity. So we've ordered 2 diesel 30-foot buses, and we're wanting to maintain that 30-foot size in comparison to some of the 40-foot that we have.
I just had a white lie. Thank you, Mayor Trant. One more. So we're going to get 2 this year with this price, and we'll get 2 the next year, and maybe 2 the next year. But by the time we issue for another 2, there may actually be another bidder in this process, is what I'm hearing.
Director Miyagi.
Through the chair, it's just speculation, but the industry is indicating that there may be other people that are providing that size of bus. Currently, there's only one.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Councillor Thiessen.
This is also a question to our acting city manager and director of community growth, Mr. Miyagi. We're replacing 2 diesel buses. So I'm looking front-facing as savings to the community. On an annual basis, how much does one diesel bus cost us in fuel?
Yes, through the chair, the equivalent 30-foot diesel bus would cost in fuel approximately $18,000 in fuel. The same 30-foot electric bus would have if you want to call it fuel, the electricity cost of about $6,000. So over the lifetime of the bus, the 30-foot diesel bus actually only lasts its warranty for 12 years. The electric bus is warranty for 18 years. And at the end of its life cycle, the overall fuel savings are about $200,000 in favor of the electric bus.
Okay, and the reason I asked that question actually is just sort of to show the community that even though this is a bit more of an expensive purchase, it is a purchase that takes us in the right direction. The fuel savings alone with 2 buses over their lifespan will pretty much buy us another bus. And the more we do this, we can start purchasing buses simply off of fuel savings alone. Not to mention the green carbon credits that we're going to gain in our inventory to go against the carbon tax and stuff like that. And I'm pretty confident that our administration is going to work hard in the future to ensure that we get the best deal, not only for our economy, but for our environment. And they'll be mindful of community mobility and design when choosing their buses in the future. So I think this is a step in the right direction, and I encourage council to support this motion.
I'll just jump in here. Director Magi, could you speak to the provincial grant, green trip funding that was received for the bus? How much of the 1.3 million is coming from the provincial grant?
Thank you, Your Worship. It's 1/3, 2/3. So 1/3 is what the city of Grande Prairie would have to pay, and 2/3 is what the Green Trip provincial grant will cover. So what the province will cover is $880,000, and we would pay the remaining.
And in the calculations that we were given regarding the fuel costs, is that less the electricity costs? Is that the net, the net gain? Or is, when you factor in the electricity costs, is that reduce the savings?
Yes, through the chair. The savings is the comparative, so it would be net savings, and that's just on the fuel side. So if I may add that $200,000 in fuel savings, and then there is about $180,000 in maintenance savings over its lifespan. And through our research too, where we felt there was a better bang for the dollar for the taxpayers here was that at the end of a life cycle of a diesel bus, any diesel bus, they're pretty much scrap metal, so you're looking at maybe $500. The electric buses have a battery value to the battery, and it goes from anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 for the battery. So at the end of the life cycle, the electric bus still has a value of about $80 or $800,000 compared to $500, which is a considerable return on investment. So when you factor all those things in, the total savings net savings that we feel the city would gain from one electric bus in its life cycle is about $450,000. That's one bus. So compare that to 2 buses, so on and so forth. We saw that there was a net savings investment.
Thank you. One of the concerns I hear in the community regarding electric vehicles in the northern climate is their performance. Could you speak to the performance of these batteries in our climate?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. There is no question that the electric buses are still fairly new technology, although it has been around for a number of years in other places. The batteries themselves, we have been told, as well as seen some research, that they will last. There's not a compromise in the in the battery power in cold climate. Edmonton has done a test in this and have concluded that they are worthy of what they claim to do. Montreal has done some tests as well as some of the colder climates in Europe, and they have all reported that there is no compromise, or very little, if you will, in terms of battery life or performance in cold weather. Some of the challenges with the electric bus could be up and down terrain, but we don't have very much of that. So doing that research, we felt that these were appropriately suited for our climate.
Just curious, could you speak to some of the operational aspects of the transit in terms of, are they, I know some buses have the technology where they charge as they go. Some are just solely charged at the station. Could you speak to the nature of these buses?
Thank you, Your Worship. These buses, if I understand your question correctly, they will be recharged once per day, if you will. They have a cycle of a couple hundred kilometers at least, and so that's good for a shift, if you will. And so they will be recharged once a day, and they do have to come back to the service center to do that. Some of the electric bus technologies have things like pantographs where they'll come down at a road location. Some other ones are you drive over top and there's a power regeneration. We've looked at those technologies as well, and the recharging stations themselves are quite expensive, and we found that they were quite prohibitive. They're in the $1 million range, so we felt that this application was quite reasonable by coming back to the service station, to the service center to recharge.
And is there infrastructure that's going to be required for the charging? Is that included in this tender?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, it is included in this tender. And for these particular buses, based on our research, the recharging units are very similar to what you would find on a little bit bigger, more robust than a car that you would find, electric car. But it's that same technology where it'll recharge into I believe a 220 or that bigger amperage. Some of the other buses do have a fairly large recharging unit themselves that we also found were space limiting at the service center as well. So these ones will require very little space in that sense.
Is there any further question, Councillor McLean?
Director Koji, not saying the solar isn't bad, but I'm wondering about taxpayers' money and Canadian jobs. And last time we asked, when we had 4 diesel buses, all the parts are made in North America and shipped over to China, and it was built and brought back to Canada. This time it's all built in China and put together in USA. Do we have anything in our policy or procedures that, will maybe look at some of this down the road for if we're making, not donkey toys, but major buses and everything and using taxpayers' dollars, is it affecting any workers at home?
Director Miyaji.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through the chair, to my knowledge, I am not aware of any Build Canada sort of requirements. I know that the American transit industry has a must build in America policy. The Canadian industry does not. And going forward, the industry is such that many of the buses are manufactured in other places, mainly in the United States, or assembled in the United States, and that's how a lot of the bus companies get by the Build America policy. So in terms of what we can do as a city of Grande Prairie, if we do limit by saying that we can only buy Canadian-made products, from the transit industry perspective, that could limit a number of our purchases where the cost could be a little bit higher than what we may be able to find elsewhere.
Is there any further questions? Any discussion on the motion? I'll just chime in just in regards to the motion. I will be supporting the motion. I'm a little bit hesitant. I think that, I've read a number of the studies regarding the electric buses, and I think that there is, a case to be made. I think that a lot of the technology is new, and a lot of the reports indicate that there was a lot of things that need to be worked out, being that it's a new technology. However, I think since that 2/3 of the funding, a considerable amount, is coming from the provincial government, which takes a little bit of the burden off of city taxpayers, and the fact that there is a good business case for it. I'm willing to support it on more of a pilot project, and I would look forward to seeing some statistics, in say 1 year of having the buses regarding the actual cost savings and fuel savings, and to have the impact, see that over time, and so we can evaluate going forward whether the city is making a wise investment with these. With that, seeing no further discussion. Councillor Radburn.
Yeah, I'd say 800,000 is a fairly fair chunk of change. And we have some options in years to come, and I think administration, we as council has to make sure that we do our due diligence as we move forward.
Excellent. None. Councillor O'Toole.
Just before we vote, I was just wondering, were we looking at alternate fuels like natural gas at one time? Was that an option in the discussions?
Director Miyaji.
Through the chair, we have done our research on the alternative fuels. One of the challenges with CNG is that there requires a infrastructure upgrade in order to service those properly and safely and legally, and the infrastructure changes would have to go into the service center in the storage bay and also in the mechanic side. As well, there is also the refueling issue, and I believe the current refueling, I don't know if there is one at the service center, but what the buses will require is a high pressure refueling. So all those factors combined, plus the price of the buses aren't. They're a little bit cheaper, but you're still facing the same kind of life cycle maintenance costs and the return on investment at the end of the year, at the end of its life cycle, the warranty and so on, so forth. So when looking at all those other elements, we felt that the CNG was a little bit cost prohibitive with those other elements involved.
Much appreciated.
Councillor Clayton.
Tell me, did we receive additional green trip funding due to the fact that our intent was to purchase electric buses, or would we have received the same funding regardless of what type of vehicle we bought?
Through the chair, it would be the same 1/3, 2/3 split.
Thank you.
Councillor McLean.
Director Koji, the grant money being asked for, was it from the federal government, which was brought to the provincial government, and then they kind of allocated because we met the criteria?
Director Maji.
Yes, through the chair, there's two types of grants that transit has access to, and this particular one was solely through Green Trip, which is the provincial one. We do have future funds that are combined with Green Trip and the federal one, which is called PTIF, Public Transit Infrastructure Fund. Is that right? anyways, those funds are also available to us, and we do have those earmarked for future bus purchases and other transit infrastructure related purchases.
Any further questions, discussion? Not seeing any. I will call the question on the tender. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. Perfect. All right, and we'll we have no letters of correspondence. Oh, sorry, Councillor Radburn, finish
One
off.
other agenda item that I just would like to speak to. We dealt with a report that addressed the request from Bearland condominiums in the city for a sub class of property tax, and that the committee chose to receive the report for information, which means there'll be no change, and we will not be creating a subtax or subclass. And I think basically on the principle that basically property taxes aren't based upon what you use. Their perspective was that since they don't have, the city doesn't do snow removal, then maybe they should receive fewer taxes. But really the property tax, I guess, principle doesn't compensate for non-use of some of the services that are provided by the city. Those services are provided to everyone. You can choose to use them or not. Thank you.
Councillor Radburn, we have no letters of correspondence, and so that we'll move into delegation business. And we had one, Councillor McLean. Oh.
We had Susan up here speaking of our city-owned digital signs, and if they're following bylaws or grandfathered in, just move it to the right committee.
So that's a motion to direct that to the right committee. Is there any discussion on that item? All right, I will call the question. All those in favor? And that passes. Oh, Councillor McLean.
Find anything about the proclamation? Were we supposed to do a proclamation? Did that get lost? Did we find it? Or we don't know?
Well, there was nothing we had prepared for this meeting, is the indication I got, and so we'll find out more and hopefully get that on some get it done somewhere. Councillor Logan. Oh, was there? Pardon? There was one opposed. Oh, my apologies. Sorry. We'll should we listen? We'll revote that just so that everyone's clear here. My apologies. So this was to move that the item that was brought up by the delegation would be brought to the appropriate standing committee regarding the city signs and the use. Yeah, be in compliance with the bylaw. All right, I will call the question. All those.
Wait.
Oh, Councillor Rice.
I wonder if I could do an amendment to that motion. That they not only check, and I don't know how here, Arlene, here's a big challenge for you. Not only check that we're in compliance with the bylaw, but perhaps a report on, does each building operator, do they set their own rules? Like, I guess it's a more policies on the operation of each one.
Councillor Radburn.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Tarrant. Councillor Rice, usually what happens, we refer it to committee, and then committee decides what information they want or don't want.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I will call the question then. All those in favor, and keep your hands up. All right. Thank you. And opposed? One opposed. All right. Thank you. Perfect. We'll now move into council member reports. Is there any reports, Councillor McLean?
I had two, Mayor Trant. I'm just bringing it up right now. Just 2 seconds. That was kind of quick. So I had two I'd like to report. One was on the City and County Joint Recreation Committee, and it was held out in far off in the county. And just a report that actually more groups are coming to the table now. I think it's been acknowledged. We have the town of Wembley, the town of Sexsmith, town of Beaver Lodge. I better say this right. The village of Height, is that right? I think so. And if there's anyone I missed, my apologies, but we, MDA Greenview, which were at that meeting at that specific time, but be a collective of everybody coming together. And I think we're looking at June for our next meeting, so I thought it was important to report on that one. And the second one I had to report on is I was appointed to, I'm just going to get down here right because it's my first meeting and I'm bringing up to speed to the local immigration partnership. And this was started by the federal government, and the mayor and council appointed me. So I had my first meeting with a gentleman named August Avenue to bring me up to speed. And I have a long way to go before we meet up with a few other committee members on there. And a part of it is it was a 6-month study, and then it became a year. And I believe next month it will be 3 years. It's federally sponsored for the next 3 years under the Trudeau government, and the areas and the cities participating. So I'll just read it. It enables immigrants to contribute to the economy of Canada as soon as possible. Canadian population is aging fast. Without it, we'd be kind of flatlined. For Canada to be able to sustain its economic and social development, that's what it's all about. And there's a structure of a council of stakeholders, and then there's an advisory board. So I'm just learning all this. So there's a couple other models. And moving forward, it's to extend all LIPs in Canada for another 3 years, like I said, and a strategic plan for the next 3 to 5 years is planned to take place this month. So I will have more meetings, and it's very important that we're a part of this. We're one of the cities that are a part of this, and for the future, and Grande Prairie is growing because of immigration, and I'm proud that council appointed me to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McLean. Is there any other council reports? Councillor Thiessen?
Aaron? Sorry, I had to clear my throat there. Yes, on February 25th, we had a meeting of the Peace Library System Executive Committee. Now, typically, the executive meets and we move things forward to the board. So what you can expect from the executive committee is decisions for the board to make, which I'll report on again later on. But I thought it was interesting to note a few things. First off, we did organizational review, and we looked at the purpose of an annual general meeting. Now, typically in not-for-profits, this is to garner support and to get more membership into the group. But under library legislation, we actually aren't required to have an AGM. So within our policy, it did state AGM. So there's discussion amongst the executive to remove the AGM since we don't really have a mandate to the public. It's more of a regional-based operation where the members are municipalities that are appointed by the municipalities. So we motioned to change our policy to eliminate AGM and to substitute it with organizational meeting that will be held in May of every year. We also reviewed and audited and unaudited draft financial statements, and we moved those forward to the board. Part of that was a 5-year capital plan. A draft of that was put together by our accountants. And they suggested, as the executive has been saying for a while, that we need to increase our reserve maximums because, simply put, a roof goes down, the flooring needs changing. We just don't have enough in there. So we actually did have a considerable surplus. It was unexpected, but mainly due to staffing losses and the need to replace those positions, as well as extra grant funding that we didn't anticipate we would get. So in the end, we moved those surpluses into our reserves for the building, for technology, and for further books and automobile. And at which point the executive had a discussion around how high should our reserves be. It was recommended that we should aim for roughly about $500,000, and that's the direction that the executive took, and we moved that forward to the board for approval. Finally, we picked our 4 board members who will be attending the Alberta Library Conference from April 27th to 29th, and I just so happen to be one of those lucky board members, so I hope to bring back a good report from that when I attend there. And that was our meeting in Fairview on the 25th.
Thank you, Councillor Thiessen. Councillor Clayton?
Deputy Mayor Tarrant, I just had one report with other councillors, but as part of my one of my council commitments, I attended the downtown BRZ AGM. It was a very well attended event, and many a council were in attendance, so that was appreciated. I just wanted to recognize at that meeting, not only did we elect the new board. We also celebrated 2 downtown businesses. The Jeffrey's restaurant, Lance Workington was recognized for Downtowner of the Year for continued investment and vision in the future of downtown, and as well Laurel from Laurel's won the Art Olette Award for constantly being a great contributor, business always looking good, and really being appreciated as being part of the downtown. So congratulations to both those businesses that won this year. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Clayton. Is there any further council reports? Seeing none, let's move into round table, and maybe I'll just start to my left. Councillor Rice.
Oh, turns on. Okay. I attended with the rest of council, or pretty much all of council, the Aquaterra annual meeting with the Aquaterra Board of Directors. I attended the chamber mixer at the newly renovated Clarkson Hall out in Evergreen Park, and I commend them for the job they've done with that facility. Attended a council in camera meeting. And I guess the highlight of the 2 weeks was I presented to a grade 6 class at Crystal Park School, Miss Crow's class. Boy, were they ever a bunch of engaged, on top of the issues, children. Unfortunately, Councillor Thiessen had presented to them the day before. And so the big question was, why did you vote against letting people have chickens in their yard? So that had been brought up by, gee, I wonder who. But it was a really great experience, and I was absolutely impressed with the level of knowledge and their keenness to get involved. So that's all I have to report.
Councillor Rice. Councillor O'Toole.
Mayor Torrent, I attended the Walking with Our Sisters Mixer event at the Grand Prairie Public Library. It was the heads up on the program that's going to take place later this year. And I also attended quite a few things this last while. Growing the North Conference, I was there for all 2 days, plus the Taste of the Peace. And then I also went to the Nighthawk Ski Hill, which had basically a contributors social event that night. And it was great to see how that Nighthawk Ski Hill and outdoor recreational facility has grown over the last year. And that's my report. Thank you.
Councillor O'Toole. Councillor Redmond.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Tarrant. I just want to, most people have mentioned most of the things already, but I'll add that a number of us attended the Grand Prairie Fire Department Awards on Friday afternoon, and just wanted to recognize the following people for receiving those awards. Community Service Award to Firefighter Colton McDonald, individual citation to Platoon Chief Bart Johnson, another individual citation to Chief Training Officer Terry Hoyen, and another individual citation to Dispatcher Nikki Hemmingson. And Chief Dan Lemieux presented awards to the Dispatcher of the Year Award, which was Susan Bale, and the Firefighter of the Year Award, Jeremy Fabian. Congratulations to those recipients.
Councillor Clayton.
So things have already been mentioned, but I wanted to say that I also had the opportunity to attend on behalf of council with Mayor Given the tri-municipality meeting with Minister Billis from Economic Development to discuss the future potential of our tri-municipality development, industrial development opportunity. As well, I'll leave it up to Deputy Mayor Tarrant to elaborate, but I wanted to say kudos to him and a great job at the Franco Alberta flag raising. He did a really good job, and it was a great room full of kids, and appreciated his effort in French. So other than that, pretty much everything else has been mentioned.
Thank you. Councillor Logan.
I have nothing new from the ones that have already been presented.
Thank you. Councillor McLean.
just a couple to speak. Even if they've been mentioned, I'm going to mention them. I went to the Growing the North conference. I think it was the first time in 3 or 4 years. Not that the others weren't good. I just decided there was a couple speakers that interested me. One was Camille Minhas locally, who now lives in Ottawa, and I really liked what she had to say. Another one was Todd Hirsch from the ATB. So they had a lot of good presenters, and I was glad I was able to go to it. Another one I was dragged out by Councillor O'Toole was Taste the Feast. And when they drag out, I was wanting to go to it anyways, but I did buy some honey. You have local, myself, I buy local, a lot of things, buffalo, whatever. I bought some honey from Honey Bee Honey. So I think I pronounced that right, or Honey Bee Honey, whichever. And it was the mom and daughter there. So I was glad to attend that Taste the Feast, because actually we can buy a lot just local. We don't have to go far or buy it from Brooks or wherever. We can buy local. Another one I was proud of was the City and Joint Recreation, but I spoke to that one. Another one was brought up was the Nighthawk Sponsorship Appreciation Night, and I brought my family, Kendra and Kara, as well, and met with a few other councillors and their family, and it was well attended. And I believe there was a few people on the horses. There was horse wagons and dog sleds, and Gord Friends, Ron Kimball, a few individuals on the horses, and really good time, and you can tell everybody was having fun, especially the children. It was a little nippy, but overall went quite well. And the GP Fire Department awards, I attended quite a few of them over the years. I'm glad Councillor Radburn brought it up, and just Jeremy being the Firefighter of the Year, I think that was very well received. I just know him as Jeremy, so I thought that was pretty good. And there was one more I wanted to speak to, but I think that's enough, and I'll close it off.
Councillor McLean, Councillor Thiessen.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Tarrant. Wow, she's getting good at this. Look at that. Yeah, there's a large, I'm going to say, plethora of events for me to choose from before me here right now. I'm just going to touch base on a few. I went to the Growing the North conference both days. I wanted to say was my third out of 4 years to the Growing the North. By far is the most entertaining and most well to learn. And I say well to learn because there's lots of differing opinions, and sometimes they're on the same subjects about automation taking over jobs and where are they going, and the technology and exponential growth. There's lots of really, really great presentations. The entertainment value was high. The conversations were juiced, and it was an excellent event. I was happy to be there with several council members and our mayor. I also had lots of kid exposure, as already stated by Councillor Rice. I got to enter Miss Crow's class the day before she did. I did tell them that she was my girlfriend. I'm sure they asked. Jackie Clayton also went after Councillor Rice. But then I had an anti-bullying discussion and panel with the Tabino students from the John Howard Society, which is a really interesting dialogue that we shared with the kids on bullying and what constitutes bullying, how do you prevent bullying, and how do we discourage bullying from our society. So I thought it was a very worthwhile conversation with those kids. Finally, I want to put out a big shout out because it hasn't been mentioned yet. I know this is what was on the tip of Councillor McLean's tongue, but this past weekend I had the opportunity and the honor to give greetings on behalf of the Mayor and Council at the 18th Annual Aboriginal Youth Spirit Seekers Conference. Another great program. I know. Yeah, see, I told you were going to talk about that. It's a great program, and I actually didn't know that I was going to give greetings, but I'm pretty quick on the spot with my tongue, and I didn't offend anybody, I don't think, on that first day. I know I was scheduled to present and give greetings for the Mayor and Council the following night during the Aboriginal Youth Role Model Awards. I'd like to congratulate all those winners. I didn't drop a list, but you know what? This is such a worthwhile event that it's not, well, it's geared towards Aboriginal youth, but it's geared towards creating role models in our community, and not just ours, but beyond in the whole Northwest. And it's just such a great thing to see youth being honored for the hard work that they do in their communities, in their schools, and in their own life to achieve and be all that they can be. So congratulations to all the winners, to all the nominees, and to the organizers and volunteers for putting together, yet again, one more successful Spirit Seekers Conference.
Councillor Thiessen. And I'll end things off here. There was a number of the events were mentioned. The one I will point to specifically is the Growing the North Conference. Kudos to the organizers, and I know that some city staff here were involved in the organization, so kudos to them. It was a great conference. Really left with a pretty good understanding of where the local economy is, where the provincial and federal economy is, at, and so yeah, hats off to them. A couple of ones that were not mentioned was the Solar Energy Society of Alberta had a workshop here exploring the solar technologies. I know several councillors were in attendance with that one, and it was just neat to see how the technology is evolving, and now it's really getting to the point where it's becoming quite, the economics of it are becoming it's more affordable, and the payoff for the life cycle costs is a lot better. Finally, just one final event I was at this past weekend was Charles Spencer School put on a production at the Douglas J. Cardinal Performing Arts Center at the college, and they took on an ambitious play, Into the Woods, and they did a fantastic job with it. It was incredible to see the talent in the community, and it was really cool to see the partnership between the high schools and the college there, and seeing there was a lot of crossover there, and there was community members playing in the orchestra, and so it's great to see those community connections. With that, I'll call the meeting adjourned. Thank you very much for putting up with our technological issues tonight and a little bit of the chaos. But we'll call adjourned and have a great evening.